if you're disconnected from the vibes around you, if you will, I think you're much more likely to stay in environments that are not good for you,
Hmm.
either relationships or friendships or whatever, jobs that are not good for you, because the whole time you're kind of ignoring what the vibe is that you're feeling, and then what's driving you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, certain words or phrases are coming up in my mind. So things like mindfulness, um, personal development, right? Self help. Now, the word self help can mean a lot of different things. I don't mean in a negative way, but like in the sense of
Right.
you're learning to take care of yourself, learning how to figure out what you want and what you need in each moment, and not in a self indulgent way, but in a way that's actually helping yourself, but also helping other people. Right. So I'm just thinking about myself when I'm like super stressed out. Right. When I'm super stressed, I'm a crazy person, all these kinds of things. And these
Right.
moments, I'm less in touch with who I am, less in touch with what I want and need, and also less in touch with the vibes around me. It's like I'm almost forcing too much as opposed to going with the flow and being part of the situation, part of the moment. Right. And a job
Totally.
actually, so think of like famous musicians or famous athletes who are in the moment, right? They're in the flow. A certain level of synchronicity is happening, and in those moments, those artists and those athletes are able to engage in great acts of great feats, right? Great moments, right? Better music, better sports play. It's the bottom of the fourth quarter. You need that last point. You get the last points, right? And it's because you're in touch with the situation. And part of that is the vibe. Part of that is the flow and being connected to what's going on around you. And that's super important, right?
Right. I might be turning a corner from my concern about this podcast about overusing the word vibe, because I'm starting to think of it in all occasions, and I like it a lot better than how I would describe it otherwise. Like I'm looking at the poster of the Rothko behind you, and it reminds me of, like, I was speaking to a friend. I was in Madrid not too long ago, and we were gonna go see a museum. And she's like, "Yeah, I don't really get art, but like, let's just go check it out." And she's like, "Well, why do you like art? Like, did you study it or something?" And I absolutely did not. I don't know much about art at all. I'm not, I'm not going to go on ChatGPT and really want to know, how depressed the artist was when they made this. Like, the thing I really love about a museum day is I'll just sit in front of a painting or a sculpture, and I'll just look at it, and I'll, for the purpose of this call, I'll I'll think, what is the vibe that I feel from this painting?
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's a good or if it's a bad vibe from the painting or the piece of art, I'll think, oh, why am I getting that vibe?
Mm-hmm.
And I just like exploring it, because I'll look at something that maybe it's darker, maybe it has these different vibes to it that's a little bit ominous, but I'll really love it, and then I'll move to the next painting that you would describe on paper as being similar, but it just won't do anything for me, and I won't like it. And then some paintings you're just mesmerized by, and some you're just want nothing to do with. And I think that, for me, is the museum experience that is the only reason why I could spend hours in a nice contemporary museum, because I'm kind of discovering a little bit about myself as I'm discovering these pieces of art. And I could absolutely describe it as the vibe of every piece, and then I explore from there. But I think, to your point, that's kind of the purpose of all of it. Like, anytime you feel a vibe, maybe go a little bit deeper.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. So with the art example, what I'm hearing you say is that you like to let the art wash over you and let that art of a
Sure.
certain vibe from you, right? And I think it's
Hmm.
a good way to experience museums and arts, right? How do you allow the art or the museum to evoke a certain kind of feeling from you, right? And that becomes your connection to that piece of art. And like you said, some art is scary, some art is beautiful, some art is sublime, whatever the case may be. And it's similar to music. Think about the variety of genres we have of music, right? Every genre is different. Every genre is evoking a different vibe. And that's why we have so many
Right.
genres, right? And so I think that's part of learning, it's part of developing your vocabulary of vibes. So I'm sure you've heard the phrase good vibes only. That's not true. There are all kinds of vibes. Right? And there are all kinds of vibes. It's not just good vibes. I mean, I can't imagine a world
That's
where there
great.
are good vibes. Like, it doesn't make any sense. As human beings, we have all kinds of experiences, and therefore we have all kinds of vibes.